What up guys, Fit Bruja here, and today I'm back with a requested storytime video, and I'm going to be talking about a time where I experienced some sort of astral projection and witnessing a spirit within my bedroom. This also correlates along the lines of sleep paralysis. So if you guys like story times and anything to do with like paranormal or any sort of like astral projection stuff, I'm going to be going over this topic and this experience that I've had. If you would like to hear that, then stay tuned. This happened roughly 2.5, 3 years ago. At first, I thought I was actually dreaming. I was actually awake. I was literally awake, but I couldn't move. So this is why I'm saying it's along the lines of sleep paralysis, because when you have sleep paralysis, you are literally awake, but most of the time people perceive that they are still dreaming while they are awake. And this was not the case. I was not dreaming. I saw everything just fine, plain as day, like I was up walking around. I stalled enough by rambling, and I'm gonna go ahead and start from the beginning and tell you as much detail as possible that I can of what happened. So first off, I was laying in bed, and the one side that I used to sleep on in bed is usually on the right next to a window, and then the bedroom door would be on the other side, and that's where my ex used to sleep, on that side next to the door that leads out into the hallway, into the kitchen, and yada yada yada. For some reason I felt a strange tingling sensation, so I ended up waking myself up, and since I was already awake, I was about to get up, but I couldn't. So I was laying there stuck on my right hand side facing the window. I was laying on my side. That was the strangest thing, and then I started to get an overwhelming sensation of I don't feel safe and I don't feel secure in what's going on right now, like something's wrong. So automatically my mind skips to something has to be going on right now that I'm not aware of, so I tried to look around as much as I could without actually being able to move the rest of my body. And of course, I'm going to say this, you should always trust your intuition, because more often than not, your intuition is going to be right about that unsecure, unsettled, unsafe feeling. And sure enough, I was right about the feeling. Something was off, and I saw a strange, short, but slender, grayed out figure walking across my room, my old bedroom. There's a nightlight that would normally be plugged into the wall, cast enough light that you can see everything throughout the room, but not have it be overwhelming to your eyes or your senses when you're trying to sleep. With my neck kinked semi to the side and looking as far as I could in my peripheral vision to my left, I could see around a 5-foot figure, very slender, grayed out. Couldn't really tell what sex it was, and I couldn't see any facial features or if it was wearing clothes at this point. But I know there was a figure, outlines of arms, a face, and where the legs would be. I noticed at first when I saw it, it was just standing there on my ex's side of the corner of the bed, and it was at first staring at him. And it was just standing there, observing, examining us, or I don't know, something along those lines, I think. And then once I took notice is when it actually started moving towards me. I have a weird feeling that maybe it was not supposed to be seen, and maybe I was supposed to remain asleep, and it was supposed to just be there to examine, which I do think that when we do sleep, we open up different sort of gateways that we allow ourselves to go through, hence astral projection and lucid dreaming, dream magic, anything along those lines where you're trying to tap into a different level of subconscious that is within your mind that you cannot normally activate when you are awake. I feel like it leaves certain doors open for different sort of entities, or whatever you would like to call them, to come through. They may not be entities that are out to get you, that are bad, that are trying to harm you, but simply trying to observe a different species. Maybe that's what this figure was doing. Maybe it wasn't trying to harm us at all. Even though it started walking towards me faster, I did not feel that it was actually trying to hurt me, but I was still unsettled because I didn't know what was going on. And what was really unsettling is that I couldn't move. And at that point, I got hyper defensive, because if anything was going to happen, I wanted to be in control of the situation. And at this point, if you don't know who the hell is in your home, you're going to get defensive right away. It's pretty natural instinct to kick in at that point. As this figure was getting closer and it was starting to walk towards me faster than what it was before, because it realized I was awake, and I was actually trying to move. I don't know if they could actually see me trying to move or not, feeling that I was kind of like twitching around at this point. Literally, I was trying my hardest to move. It felt like I was literally learning how to reuse my whole body at this time. The only thing I could use was my face. I literally felt like I was paralyzed, and it was like the worst sensation I've ever had in my life, was not being able to move. But as it neared and it got past my dresser, it was literally a few feet away is when I moved, and I jumped up out of bed real fast. I ended up waking up my ex, and he was super startled and he didn't know what was going on. I didn't tell him. I just said I had to go to the bathroom really bad, and it was fine, go back to sleep. And as soon as I got up, it evaporated. He, she, unisex, whatever the hell it was gone. I didn't know how to feel about it. I obviously played it off and literally walked to the bathroom and pretend like I was going to the bathroom like I said I was. And I was pondering about it while I was in the bathroom. And then right after that, I decided, well, I may as well go take a quick peek around the apartment, see if anything was moved, or maybe there was actually someone in there, because the logical side of me kicks in too. Like, I have to check out everything. I can't just assume this is what it was. It was an apparition of some sort. So I went out of the bathroom, I went and checked everything. I checked on my cats, and everything seemed just fine. I still have a slight weird tingling sensation. It could just be mostly because I was unsettled and I wasn't quite sure of what was going on. I had a rough idea, because I like to research into these sorts of things to try and come to some sort of final conclusion of like, why did this happen? So I'm always like searching different outlets of how can this be? How can this happen? And you know, I look into a lot of things, a lot of different spiritual beliefs and practices and all that sorts of stuff. I try to be aware of these things more often than not. There's a lot of different theories running around in my head at the time, and I don't know, I felt unsettled. But regardless, I made a loop, got some water, and I went back to bed. As funny as that sounds, some of you are probably like, bitch, I would not be going back to bed right now, I'd be awake. I had a rough idea, and I felt settled enough with the theory that I came up with to go back to sleep on it. Still not quite sure what it is that happened. It didn't happen again since that night. I don't know if I just kind of woke up at the wrong time and destroyed some other extraterrestrials experiment or something like that, or some sort of subconscious of actual projection. I think it was like a mixture of everything, really. In my opinion, sleep paralysis and like lucid dreaming and astral projecting are very, very closely tied. They all come from the same sort of subconscious of your mind, but I'm still intrigued with the situation enough to keep researching about it. But yeah, that's my story time. That's my strange experience with sleep paralysis and possibly some sort of astral projection, because I did get the tingling sensation, and that does happen when your body is about to leave its vessel. Or it could have, and it kind of just hovered around, but it left it open to a gateway, like I was saying earlier. And something else decided it was going to kind of float around in my area and scope things out while I was still there, and somehow saw me. So if you guys have any similar experiences, I would love to hear them. So please place them in the comments below, or you can email me at onefitbruja@outlook.com, and I would love to read them. I love watching videos and reading up on these things. It's like one of my favorite pastime things to do. I would love to read it if you would like to type it up. And until next time, I will see all you lovely little brujitas later.